This is Alexis Drinks, where we talk to your favorite people about their favorite beer. We're in the Atlantic Highlands to talk to Augie about Carton. Let's go see what he's drinking. Welcome back to another Alexis Drinks. We are in Carton, at Carton, with Augie. Hi, Carton. We are doing all Carton all the time because Augie has very smartly started me out with 15 Carton beers and at least 20 maybe?
3,
and
6,
it's a lot. It's
8,
a lot over there. Anyway,
16,
there's
18.
so much going on here and I just wanted to talk all Carton
Here
all
I
the
am.
time. And something that he doesn't know, and I'm going to tell him right now, is that I dress the part.
The orange.
Yeah.
I know.
The orange.
You don't think I noticed that right away?
And the blue.
Oh. All right,
So-
I get it. Look, I'm in it today too. I'm in it today too.
So really appreciate you having
Thanks
us
for having
here
us.
today.
Do I have orange on? I do. Well, I guess
You
the
do.
red.
You do. You have it. It's
just
great.
and my shoelaces.
Listen. Again, you're running.
That's
you're running.
right. Constant on the go. Anyway,
love it.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I like when people are on brand. It's,
Yeah, listen, I was thinking to myself what to wear, and I was like, you know what, I've got the orange kimono, it's got to be. It has
lovely.
to be, so.
Thank you for it. Yeah, so I don't know what you guys ever talk about, so I'll just
Anything,
hijack
everything.
your whole show and
I
tell
love
that
it.
story. But what's funny is when we were starting 11 years ago, when we were putting this all together, so my name is Carton. What's funny is the amount of people that don't make that connection.
Sure.
Where they're like, why'd you call the brewery Carton? I'm like, because my name is Augie Carton.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, but I guess these days, back then there weren't so many breweries, but these days with 8,000, I think just everybody's using anything for a name, so they just
Truly.
think maybe you would name your brewery after a cardboard
Yeah.
box. But at the time, my argument was, our name means cardboard box. You either own that and get ahead of it,
Right.
or it's going to come up later and you don't know how. So we made our logo as a cardboard box, and I said to the designer I was working with, I was like, all right, so just show me red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and we'll pick our favorite one on this cardboard box logo.
Right.
And they committed what I consider the biggest sin in design, where it was, if you can imagine a Crayola box of 64, they didn't give me red, orange, blue, or anything. They gave me Dusty Rose, Periwinkle, blah, blah. And I was like, no. And my partner, Chris, wanted orange. I was kind of leaning towards blue. And so as not to cause a different fight with him and to settle it with them, I was like, go outside, pick up a traffic cone, give me this box in that color orange, or you're fired. So that's how Carton becomes orange.
Class.
Once you're orange, you learn that every single thing in the world comes in that color orange. Pour yourself a beer. You know where they are. Everything in the world comes in that color orange. Your hammers can be that color orange. Your cars can be that color orange. Your
Hey, I saw an orange car out there.
yeah.
It was glorious.
So we look like we're really smart at branding, but really it was just frustration with designers and the shades of periwinkle.
I mean,
Anyway, there's my opening salvo.
No, I love it. I love it because I think it's one of those, number one, you are our longest running brewery on the show so far, so you have more history than any of the breweries we've
We're a
talked
decade
to,
in.
which I love that. But also, I mean, really, yeah, you beat Tuckahoe by a year, turns out.
Okay.
But also, yes, just that I think that like you have so many stories from breweries that people don't get to hear about the like accidental way things happened. And I love that. I love that, like, because everyone, you see Carton and it's 11 years later.
Yep.
So identifiable, so branded. And it turns out, no, it's just like I got frustrated and I picked up a traffic cone.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic story.
Thank
that,
you.
I've never heard before. And I feel like that's like very evocative of Carton and all of the things we're going to drink today. Everything has an amazing story. And so I'm excited to
You want to
drink
start
more
drinking?
of these beers.
So are you going to
So
go in
we're
the
gonna
order
go-
we
we're
set
gonna-
up? All right.
Start with this one. What is this?
That one's called Something Nice.
Oh, yes, love that.
It's our table beer.
I always love something nice.
Oh, see that? So my partner in the podcast, John Hall calls it my longest con, because on Facebook I would just say to people, drink something nice.
Yes.
Yeah, for
the birthday.
For hundreds of years,
Yes.
drink something nice.
Love that.
And I love when somebody's like, I don't drink. I was like, you don't have a favorite tea? Like,
Right.
drink something nice. That's all I want. Just drink something nice.
Something nice.
But when we were working on this beer, so this beer, it's an all Jersey product. The yeast is from a beehive from a other beer we do called Planting Jersey. When that beer's finished, we put something nice in. The malts are all from actually down by you, Rabbit Hill. My friend Hillary grows them. And
Well, we're not that far south.
But is anything that far south?
We're closer to Hillary than
way closer than I am. But I like to go down there and visit. But anyway, so it's her grains, but she grew some spelt specifically for us to make this beer. And before the spelt edition, every time, this is probably the beer I made and threw out the most over all the time we're doing, because it really needed to be spot on exactly. Mixed ferment saison with all those phenolics, some sourness, not too much, but it needed to be food friendly, and the spelt solved that. But
and what is spelt?
Spelt is just another grain. It's just another grain, but it's, for me, if you throw spelt in a recipe when you want kind of a richer in the form of like oily or viscous mouthfeel, it bodies up differently than like protein heavy for hazies, you know what I mean? But so that offsets the banana clove natural saison phenolics going on in there and the white pepper and all that.
Yes.
But so along the way I'd be like, I like it, it's close, but I want it to be something nice. And the spelt is what niced it. But then I labeled this beer after all these jokes. I called it, all right, so now it's something nice. We branded this beer something nice. And then Hall's like, you dick. For 10 years I've been watching you say drink something nice, not realizing you were going to make a beer called something nice. But that was not my intention. That was not the master plan. Again, I just look like I'm great at marketing. I just really have 6 ideas and I really commit to them.
Listen, love that. My birthday is, what are we? It's 2 months away. 2 months, and my Goddess Day is exactly 1 month away of a Goddess Day, because God forbid
I don't know what that means.
For my graduation, friends of mine who were Wiccans and also broke at the time.
Okay. Broke Wiccans? I thought they were all so rich.
So rich. It was. I'm
shocked by that. I had that.
We were all in our early 20s. I was graduating from college. They were like, we don't have the means to buy you a graduation present, so we're gonna throw a potluck.
Nice.
And it's gonna be your Goddess Day. And they, told everyone it's Alexis's Goddess Day. Come on down, let's party. And that was 2005.
Okay.
It is 2022.
And you still do it?
I still do it. It's Lexicalia.
And it's taken over, right?
It has gone so crazy. At one point, the friend who did it for me ran a winery in Chemung. They had a Lexicalia weekend.
I have a similar party where, because I try to live my life in a hedonistic, mad way, which means you almost never need an excuse to party.
Right.
But we had a random event just come out of nowhere where a friend of mine had done a New Year's morning brunch just for hangovers, and we were kind of in the city and we'd run out of things to do, but we had all this leftover food. Am I in the way there?
No, you're fine.
But so we had all this leftover food and all this. The party wasn't over. I was like, hey, I just got this DVD of that movie Big Lebowski. Anybody want to go back to my apartment and watch it? So we all grabbed all of the leftovers, brought them to my apartment, threw the DVD on, and started eating. I was like, oh, well, I can make White Russians. So I made everybody White Russians. And then the next January 1st, the guy who threw the brunch was like, I'll make all that food and we'll just do Lebowski at your house. And then for about 20 years, my wife and I had this just religious event. On January 1st, people came to my house to drink White Russians, watch Lebowski, eat mac and cheese, and whatever he had for breakfast that day. And it became the only party we were throwing annually for no reason.
Well, sure. Well, and again, yes, this has become a thing. It all really came out of me saying that if I was ever a goddess, I would want my supplicants to be sacrificed by dipping them in chocolate.
Okay.
Listen, if you're gonna
You know
die.
that doesn't necessarily kill you.
Listen.
Like there is soft at room temperature chocolate all over the world.
It was a whole thing. Anyway.
Hershey syrup.
So I became the chocolatey diva of deaconism.
I like it.
Was wine and chocolate, and of course we've added beer since then.
I want to get you a chocolate beer. I think I have one of those.
Oh,
All right,
we'll
keep
do it after
keep
the break. It'll be great.
Okay.
It will be fantastic. But so something nice. I think I'm going to have it both on Lexicalia, and then a month and a week later on my birthday.
Well, I think you should drink something nice every day.
Well-
It doesn't have to be that beer.
Something nice.
I'm of the opinion you should. All right, so give me that because I'm running out of both.
No, yes, no,
and
have
then
some.
we'll move you on.
And this is right. This is now.
That is algorithms aren't AI.
Okay.
Some of you will get that.
Algorithms
aren't
are
AI.
not AI.
Algorithms are not AI. They're
So-
just algorithms.
So, so we haven't approached the singularity yet.
No. No matter how smart you think they are, they will get smarter in the next 5 years. So anyway, so that's one of those juicy hazy ones that just appeal to so when I drink that one, it's funny. I said it on one of our videos the other day while I was drinking it, but I was like, this beer makes me believe I'm never going to get old. Like there's just something about that combination of those kind of winey thiol esters and those big juicy orangey citrus notes that just connect somewhere to me. And I'm like, so I was telling you before, like 10 years ago when we invented the world's greatest beer, boat beer.
Love it.
The hop that tied that together for us was Citra. It's the hop that made that beer work. And 10 years ago, it wasn't a well-known or very popular hop. So we committed to it, started using it everywhere, and now it's the most popular hop. But this hop in here is called Trident, and it's the first hop, I think, in a decade that was like, this makes you exactly happy like Citra.
Yeah.
So now every beer I've made this summer will be some version of how does it work with Citra? How does it work with Mosaic? How does it work with Simcoe? How does it work with Chinook? How does it work with Strata?
Well, yeah. So I get very excited because I did not come into this world drinking IPAs, liking IPAs, even enjoying IPAs. It was not a thing that and people know this about me by now. It's like my claim to fame. I hate IPAs. I don't hate them. I have
Can't hate them.
grown to love them, but I have an affinity for those IPAs, which I feel like this is one of those that really gives your mouth like something to think about. No, I mean like
That's enough. Cut. Wrap it. Somebody print that. I'm gonna put that on Facebook tomorrow, and finally I'll be good at advertising.
No, I mean I like you're tasting the hops in an intelligent way.
Thank you.
And I like that. I like that, that there is a taste to hops that is more than just that here they are.
Right.
And this is that. Like it's an IPA that I feel.
And the game I was playing with this version, like I said, if you're a fan of Carton, I think this is summer of Trident. I think I'm going to have one of these a week for you in variations because each one I make. So we started off with, we have a series called The Hook. The Hook is just like a 5%, kind of simple hazy, some pretty hops I like dressed up so you can drink 20 of them at 5% and be safe. We do a series of it where we take that beer and then you were actually just drinking one. You were drinking the Zappa version of it. We did that with Trident. And that beer just spoke to me. So then I was like, well, let's fool around with this Trident some more. So that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
But so for this one, that was an 8.5% beer. So if I'm being a smart Augie, which I seldom am, you stop at around 3 on 8.5% beers.
Right.
But I don't want to stop at 3. So this is a 6%. And what I did there was add some these things called brewer's crystals. It's a dextrose by way of corn fructose palette together. Addition, and I just put a tiny bit in to add an aromatic sweetness to cover that the alcohol was smaller, right? So I hope that's drinking like a boozy, balmy 8.5% IPA, but it is a 6%.
Which is fantastic.
Hazy for behaving when you're supposed to behave.
I love that. Well, we're going to take a break. I'm going to spend the break trying to convince Augie to name one of the Trident beers Poseidon, and we'll be back right after this.
I have to call the IP lawyers.
BruYou is the app to send and receive drinks. Buying a drink with BruYou is easy. First, select a recipient, choose the location, and then pick a drink from their menu and send it out. It's easy to stay connected with the people you care about with BruYou. Whether it's a birthday or promotion, or just because, sending a drink with BruYou is great for any occasion. When someone buys you a drink, you'll receive a notification with the details, and the drink will be stored in the app until you redeem it. When you're ready to redeem a drink, follow the prompts and show the bartender the confirmation screen. Once your drink is received, close it out on the app and say thanks. Then, cheers! You just received your first drink on BruYou. Available for download on the App Store and Google Play Store.
We are back. Augie, thank you so much for all of the fun we had on the break.
That freshened my boat.
Love it. So this is Larry.
Larry.
Which is?
My dad. So Larry was my father. So we do a series of beers called the Highlander Vices. I call them Highlander Vices because we don't live in Berlin, and I think Berlin has the right to calling something a Berlin Vice. We live in the Highlands, so we call it a Highlander Vice.
There could be only one.
But one of the things we do is we made one our first year with some mulberries because there's a mulberry tree in the backyard that dropped all the mulberries, and we were kind of tromping them into the restaurant. I'm sorry, into the brew space.
Right.
And there was this purple line down the floor, and I was like,
what's that?
Well, Jesus, if we're gonna have mulberries this deep in the brewery, we should put one in a beer. That became Monkey Chase the Weasel. What we did was put all the fruit juice in to a lightly sour 3.9% beer and let it dry completely out. It's not one of the modern fruit added sours. We do those under a name called Puree. But the Highlander Vices are fruit juice that's dried out. So when that one got nice and old, it started tasting like non-vintage champagne to me, which I saw as a window into the partner at the tasting room that doesn't like beer.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? There's always that person who's like, well, they like the beer, I don't.
Right. I love that you're thinking about that person.
So then I started thinking of all the different, the flavor wheel, the fantasy, the romantic flavors we do when we taste these things. You know, when we were tasting before, we were tasting the turned up hook with Zappa off camera before. But it's got like Concord grape and a little diesel fuel and lychees. Obviously none of that's in there, but those are the aromatics. So I started thinking of the aromatics suggested by wines I love and fruits that I think taste a little better when they're sour, and then putting them in, drying them out, letting them be like wines. So the inspiration for this one is Muscadet, which is thinking of a, like an oyster-friendly, end of the Loire, a little bit salty, a little bit fruity, prosciutto and oyster wine.
Yes, love that.
And then I thought back to a tale of when I was a kid. My dad, making breakfast for my mom, had cut up a cantaloupe that tasted like shit. And he squeezed a lemon on it and salted it, and all of a sudden it tasted great. And it tasted like cantaloupe, but much better than what I had just tasted. That was like a young Augie first lesson in cooking. So I was like, all right, so let's salt cantaloupe and add that to one of these and dry it out, and that becomes named Larry for Dad.
Love that. Love that story.
That's the Highlander Vice with cantaloupe and salt.
And truly, when you had first said like, oh, cantaloupe and salt, my brain was like, that doesn't make any sense. Despite the fact that I literally 2 days ago went to a party where I brought prosciutto wrapped cantaloupe. Because of course you do.
Drink that with prosciutto.
Oh yeah.
And I'd be like, fuck, that cantaloupe was just in the way.
Seriously. Well, it makes me think of, we had an earlier show with Bellevue where he paired one of his beers, no, not beers, wines. He said cantaloupe, prosciutto wrapped cantaloupe. And I feel like this and that together with the cantaloupe and the prosciutto would be amazing. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drink something nice. I'm going to eat something nice.
There you go. That's what we try.
Yeah.
Got to be considered. All right, now you got to move on. This is out of what we call the OWC. I don't know if your camera can catch the branding, but OWC. That's where we do our. Oh, do you? Cool.
I think I bought it from you. Well, it's
I'm honored.
Yeah, no, I mean, I bought like.
Is it a stemmed one?
It's a stemmed one.
We keep them moving so they don't get boring.
Yeah, it's a stemmed one, and I bought it when I bought like 6 bottles. I want to say 2 things of 3.
Right. So we do 3 packs. The joke or the gimmick or the side of the thing, by the way, people at home, a tornado is just rolled through town.
Just, you know, weather has
And there's
happened.
actually tornado warnings for this town right now, so don't be surprised if we end up in Oz.
It's Johnny's fault.
Johnny, you got to get us home. Anyway,
Sorry.
so the OWC, so we always do a wine shape. So OWC is where we do kind of mixed culture, sours, longer projects. My brewer, Austin, the Barrel Cat, is in charge of this.
Barrel Cat.
And these ones are just, you know, what would be fun, you know, traditional mixed ferment or, you know, Brettanomyces, Lactobacillus. So that one is a framboise. We have, again, we're going back to Hillary down by you.
Yes.
Hillary calls me up anytime she sees a cool fruit that I've told her I'd like to brew with. She called us, she said, I've found the most amazing raspberries. We said, give us 40 pounds of them. We put them into a mixed ferment, turbid mash, proper, you know.
Well, and I love it because as someone who's, you know, I was very immature in beer for a very long time. And so that Lindemann framboise, what, that face. But it was something that appealed to me, and this is like a grown-up version of that.
Thank you.
And I love that because it has that like something that if anyone's had that Lindemann framboise, they can like identify it with.
Oh, it's definitely a framboise.
Yeah.
But it's not that IHOP syrup Lindemann framboise.
Correct.
It's
it's that like
Jersey fresh fruit framboise.
Jersey fresh
Garden
fruit,
State.
Garden State. Jersey brewed, Jersey fermented, but also just like that, like if you're like an adult, if you've like grown up in beer, this is what you would drink as opposed to Lindemann.
Thank you, I love it.
I want.
So yeah, when you're having your big dinner, just throw some goat cheese at that one, and you'll be pretty happy. Like just straight up, simple, dry, chalky goat cheese.
Oh yeah. Well, also fun story. I have a friend who her mother emigrated from Mexico.
Okay.
And will not eat goat cheese.
Why?
It's peasant food, and that's so funny. It like speaks to perspective, right?
No,
like, you know, we
where
like,
you come from.
Yeah, you know, like we like, oh, goat cheese. We've elevated it.
I love it.
Love
You know
goat
what's
cheese.
funny about that is, so do you know what halloumi is?
Yes, I love halloumi.
So that's the other thing I would put with that. It's like roast off any root vegetables, roast off some halloumi, do that with that. But halloumi is one of those where finding it is hard because nobody respects it, and I'm like, everybody should have this.
It's delicious.
Everybody should have halloumi
phenomenal.
at every store, and I should be able to get it whenever I want, and I can't, and it makes me crazy.
I was at Aldi though, Aldi of all places.
Well, that makes sense, right?
It's wild.
But they are happy to try to make anybody, like that's still where you get pork rinds these days. Aldi's the weirdest store in the world.
It is so weird. It is so. I love Aldi, but it's so weird. I love it. So yes, goat cheese and halloumi and just grown-up framboise. Freaking love it. And again, Hillary.
So just so you know, that one will be called +1, and it's actually coming out in 2 weeks. So that one should be around when this airs.
Yes, absolutely. I would say.
I was trying to make sure what we drank we had when this comes out.
That's
nothing
so
I hate more than.
Like, oh, and it's like.
No, we ran out of that months ago.
Right. It was
That's
done,
why I didn't
it's
give you
over.
Ballinator. Like that won't be here.
Off camera, I got
Off
Ballinator.
camera. Well, yeah, that's what I consider. It's a fun beer. That joke.
Listen, I love to taunt my audience with things that I've drank and they hack.
No, but I hate that. That's the only thing I hate in craft beer is, oh, I wish you guys could try this. Come in, try it. Don't let craft beer unobtainium be in your head.
No, I mean, but truly,
drink good beer.
I feel like, yes, drink good beer. Well, and again, you can come to Carton, and I feel.
Mostly drink boat beer.
Listen, I mean, I'm gonna fangirl out here.
I'll take it.
I feel like you can come to Carton and basically say to your folks, these are the things, these are the flavors that I like, and they will have something to give you.
We try. So that's one of the things that built this brand 10 years ago is, if you think about Monmouth County, like forget Jersey. Jersey's obviously every type of human.
Yeah, it's so
but
wild.
Monmouth County, if you make the triangle from Freehold to Matawan to Ocean, is every type of human. Literally every type of human. Every income class, every sex, every ethnicity, every type, every preference, any religion. They're all represented. So we felt that if we could make our community happy, we'd be fine,
right. You could
growing
make the
or
world
not
happy.
growing. Right, like you know what I mean? You've got So, and that's kind of what our tasting room is about. If you've been painting bathrooms all week, or you're one of the guys off the boat from Wall Street, or you were fishing, I hope I have a beer in here that covers what you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
Even if you don't think you want beer.
yeah. Well, that's
You
the
know,
Larry.
Listen, love that.
We have Larry, and we have this one.
This is
What
the-
a
what we're
segue!
gonna
What a
finish
segue!
with.
She
So
nailed it.
excited.
I'm so
Listen.
impressed. I wish I could stick that landing. John Hall is going to be like, "You are the worst. You should have done that on your own." So your final beer
Love this.
is in our regular coffee series. This one's our summer one. It's called Light and Sweet, 6%. As you can see on camera, it's bright yellow, but it is coffee, milk, 2 sugars. Usually this is a 12% beer in the winter, but we make a 6% version for
Love that,
summer.
love that.
So you're not calling a cab to Sandy Hook to get you home when you were drinking Light and Sweet on the beach. But bon appetit. Tell me what you think. But I will sip on this boat.
Listen, I mean, and that's the thing. I have honestly never had a beer that is this sweet and not been like a sour or a barrel aged or like just like it defies all logic. Number one, it shouldn't be this golden. It shouldn't be this light. It's sweet, but it's not aggressive. I like coffee
Thank
like
you.
I like my soul black and bitter.
Me too.
But I would drink a coffee like this if I could. But I'm really excited that I could drink a beer like
Well,
this.
that's the story of the
phenomenal.
beer. Thank
It's
you.
wild.
Thank you. If you're a brew geek, and I imagine you are if you're watching a beer show, but if you're a brew geek, it's milk, 2 sugar. So the joke is it's lactose, which is a sugar in beer, but it's lactose. So that's the milk, and then maltose and dextrose. And there is a big dextrose amount because I really do want it to represent like it's a diner cup of coffee with milk, 2 sugars.
Yeah.
But we dry it all out, which is why the ABV gets as high as it does in the other.
That's
And
the thing. I
it.
feel like I could drink this. I could drink the crap out of this and not get the way I feel when
You
I
won't
drink really
sleep well.
sweet beers. Wow.
A lot of coffee in that beer.
You don't know how I sleep.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But no, I would drink the crap out of this all of the time and not get that like
Yeah.
too sweet headache. Phenomenal beer to land on.
Thank you.
Really excited.
Ties against the dessert beer.
It does,
Like
it
like
does.
you, I drink my coffee black.
Yeah.
So that beer was kind of a joke about the regular coffee of New Jersey, and it always strikes me as a dessert because
Yeah.
of the sugar. So I just figured we'd throw that last. Sugar shuts everything down, makes
Love
a
it.
nice tie-up.
Thank you. That's a great wrap. Guys, thank you for joining me. Augie, thank you so much for everything
pleasure.
all of the time.
Thank you.
And that's the show.
See you later.
Ciao.